Motorboat? You play the motorboat? You motorboating son of a bitch, you old sailor, you.
Following program contains language and subject matter that you may consider unsuitable for children. Parental discretion is advised.
I'm going to pass the reins to Mr. Jackal, the new king of radio.
I think Jackal's Latino, I'm not sure, but he'll give it to you good.
The Jackal.
All right, everybody listening in worldwide and watching on YouTube, D Live, and Rumble, and everywhere else across the internet. We're back on Inside the Jackal's Head, and like promised, I have another exciting guest. This is a lady that I'm calling the Madam Patriot of the country, Ms. Gina Bisignano, and I haven't known her for Bisignano. I'm sorry. I'm Cuban.
Bisignano.
Bisignano. You're Italian background, right? Is Italian?
No, it's Cuban. Of course it's Italian.
Yes. See? I'm Cuban, so you got to understand. You know, we fumble our
Cubans. I
our
grew up in Miami.
Bisignano. It's tough for me. It's tough. But
Come te sente. Voglio vedere.
That's pretty cool. I have no idea what you just said, Maria. But let me tell my audience real quick. The reason I'm super excited to have you on is because I want to like really dive into what the folks at J6 went through. And when I found out about your case a while back, I was like, I'm never gonna get to meet this person. And then I got to meet you, and I'm like, holy moly, Gina. And when I read your story, I was like, how did this happen? And your story is fascinating because you're a really well respected hair salon, and you've been, beauty queen, like my guy. I mean, there's so much to your background, and it's all been positive. You're a great example for a lot of women in America and a lot of girls, and somehow you were used. And your story is just like, if you haven't followed what this lady's been through, you've really missed a lot of what happened because of January 6th. Please give my audience a little bit of your background before we go into the actual events, because I want the audience really to like kind of reflect on like who you are and how this nearly has destroyed you.
Well, by the grace of God, it's like sometimes count it all joy, brethren. Like when we go through the hardest things in life, it's such a gift. It's count it all joy, brethren. So when we're suffering, like we could go home and we can retreat and like, Lord, I know you have me. That's what's given me strength to wake up and breathe every day. And I have a son too. And I remember when I got out of jail, he held me and I had panic attacks. And I couldn't breathe because they kept telling me I was going to go back to jail for 30 years. And I had no more income anymore. I had no more clients. I was ostracized. And I remember he held me. He's like, Mama, you're going to be okay. God has you, Mama. He always did. And even though we have our ups and downs, the fact that when he held me and I couldn't breathe, that kind of maintained, like, stayed in my mind, And I'm like, I have my son, This is my manager, Michelle. She's awesome.
I was gonna ask her, hi, Michelle. There we go.
I have a manager now because she was so impressed with my story. I'm blessed to have her as a manager. Like, I'm nothing. It just happened God put me in a position, to take it for the team.
You're amazing. I'm in awe of this woman.
No, I'm in awe of this.
Instantly, like, your story is captivating, and I'm telling you, it's something that you can actually make even a movie out of. It's that interesting of a tale. And
it's funny you said that because I had somebody meet with me to do a book, and then the person who was with him worked with Marvel, but he can't do the screenplay until he has a book.
Okay, makes sense.
So,
makes sense. Yeah. But that's a great idea. Yeah.
Michelle and I are trying to work something out. I think Con Air alone, the fact that I was in Con Air and I had a box, and the chains. You know, that to me was the ultimate punishment. You know, that was the ultimate. That was it.
So I mean, how did you get involved? More into politics? Because I know a lot of this stuff happened and started for you during the pandemic. When they went and they tried to shut you completely down, and we know who was involved. Nasty
I love
Pelosi.
you, Michelle.
Yeah, a lot of bad people in the area out there,
Yeah, in
and
LA and in Los Angeles.
yeah, yeah, from San Francisco to LA, all that is just
Got
disaster.
Gavin Newsom, we got Mayor Karen Bass, we have Nancy Pelosi. It's a monarch. It's a bureaucracy,
Yeah,
and the bureaucracy is ending now. You know, I
as
said
Trump
to
would
my
say, we're into the golden era, as Trump says.
and as Trump said, you have no cards. You don't know what we're not going to have anything negative happen to our country. You have no cards, Zelensky.
You know,
No cards like that.
I was going to get to that. If you heard the first hour, I dug deep into the whole conversation because it's funny how America, and I'm talking about America, the left, has lost their mind over, the clips, and they're not really like watching what happened. Trump plays on 4D chess. Let's be honest. Okay, he's a thinker. He's always thinking ahead, and I'm pretty sure they had a game plan when they went in saying if there's any shenanigans, if this guy doesn't play like he's supposed to, we're both going to, lay in on him because, this is costing America a lot of money. So
And all he
our
wanted was
defense
security.
system. Oh, he
Angel,
was
did you hear that? Did you hear that all he talked about was securities, not ceasefire? He doesn't want a ceasefire.
That's where I'm going with it. Yeah,
It's like you don't want a ceasefire. You want the money, right? That the securities.
correct. Yeah, yeah.
That was to me so blatantly ignorant. Okay, that he's not dealing with a full deck. That guy, he's not. He's bought and paid for by the Obama administration. Actually, did you know that?
Yeah, I knew that, and the funny thing is, I love how speaking, not playing with the full deck, how Trump said, "You don't have the cards right now." You
That's what I'm saying.
know,
You don't have the cards right now.
I love Trump. There, he's like a walking comedy machine. There, and he's so quick.
Nice, this outfit, he says. I think you look nice, he said.
Yeah, I
This
know.
outfit.
And
You know what I noticed, Angel? In the initial interview, he was so kind to Zelensky, and then JD got in, and I think it worked him up a little bit.
that's what I was getting to because when you look at it, and this is what the left fails to see, Trump was being polite. He was being Trump because he's Trump and he has to show his dominance as a world leader. But at the same time, you're seeing he was actually playing nice because they had an agreement and he was there to bring peace. And then Zelensky's the one that started like going off the rails, and he just like went bananas, right? Like when like he did that whole thing, like, hold on, are you on some substance there, brother? Because like you caught that in the beginning, and then he started like
No,
popping off at the mouth, and that's when JD Vance was like, and you can see it in their face. Even Marco Rubio was like, we're Cuban. We know what this means. You know what that means. Watch the clip again from the beginning. There's a lot of people that think that Zelensky was on some kind of upper, and that's why maybe he lost his marbles. Now, I'm not saying that's a fact. I'm just saying this is the rumors that are going out there. So,
right. It did appear that way, didn't it? The way he sat with his legs sprawled apart, with in between, and I caught that there was a language barrier.
mm,
I didn't get the impression that Zelensky was being rude. I felt he was just ignorant as to his surroundings. I really did. I could be wrong. He just doesn't seem smart enough to be calculating to me.
this type, but remember, he's also an actor. And not like Trump. Oh, Trump was on TV. Well, he was on a reality show. It's different. But Zelensky was a comedian and an actor, a stage performer. Different.
Oh,
You know, so I don't put it past that he might be doing some performing arts, and he's not as dumb as he
Oh,
thinks.
that's a good point. That's a good point. Did you see how they pulled in Maria Abramovich into Ukraine as the ambassador of
I
Ukraine?
saw, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Because there's, that's
Well, I
interesting.
mean, of course, Jesus Christ is our King. In America, we're formed on a constitution under God.
Hmm.
And you can tell when these people don't have God. I mean, isn't he punishing Christian churches out there or fining
Yeah.
Christian churches? And so he brings in Marina Abramovich as
Mm.
some kind of mascot of Ukraine. What was she selected for? The ambassador?
Yeah, that makes you wonder, like the money that they went through the U.S. aid to teach
Yeah.
atheism.
What?
You didn't hear
$30
about that?
million?
Millions of our money through the U.S.
Right.
U.S. aid
Oh,
program
that's phony.
went to actually fund programs in third world countries and in Nepal, I think it was, or Peru was another one that they sponsored transgender programs, and they're yeah, I'm not even kidding. And
Oh,
they actually
I've
spent
totally heard that.
millions of dollars to promote atheist programs in some of these countries. That is
And the
appalling.
condoms, they're
Condoms,
selling
which a
condoms.
lot of people are like, well, maybe they're trying to population control. No, you could also use that to make bombs. Look into that. Why are we?
Condoms?
Yes, look into it. There's
Okay.
a lot of different uses, and people are like, well, they're just trying to like help out with the AIDS epidemic. Oh yes, why are you giving it to countries like Iran and Africa where
Well,
there's
Iran.
terrorism? And reports are they're not being passed out to like make sure you have some safe sex. Here is your condom for the week. No, they're passing it out to people that are blowing people up, using them to make bombs. This is not
Ah.
like they're eating the cats in Ohio. No, this is
Well, they were
happening.
eating the cat.
Well,
We
they
saw
were
them in
too.
TikToks.
There
Yeah.
were two, but this is not like funny, like haha, like oh they're eating the cats. It's comedy. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
joking. No, this is
Dogs.
like
They're eating the cat.
this is
They're
even
eating the
worse
dog.
than this is worse than how much I Haitians eating cats and dogs in Ohio. This is literally they're using it to bomb people and kill them, and we're giving them these condoms. We're basically handing out like things to make bombs so they can blow people up.
Did you see the videos where Zelensky, they were kidnapping the kids and leaving the dogs and
Yeah,
recruiting them for war? Are those the videos that he was referring to?
those
J
are some of the
Vance?
videos. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh.
There's a lot more stuff. Zelensky has been here now for a lot of money. 350 billion that we know of. He is not broke. This man has mansions. Okay, three or four mansions
Did
that we
you
know
buy
of.
one in South Florida?
Right. He has one down here, which I don't know why. Right. What does he need a house in South Florida for? He's the president
I
of
was wondering.
Ukraine.
I was
Um,
wondering.
many cars, really expensive cars. Let's see, he makes about 11 million a year, which is more than the president of the United States.
The president of the United States makes 450,000 and he gives up his salary.
And I know Trump has never taken a penny, which another thing the left forgets. They sweep it under the rug because there's hate, 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 hate mainstream. Uh,
Well, the left, they're ignorant and they have no common sense, and I realize that now. And it's really hard to touch people and do beauty things on them when you look at them and like you're like, you are such an empty vessel. You are
yes.
so stupid. And I
Yeah.
want to tell them that.
Oh, don't we all? Like Joyless Reed. I'm so glad she got fired.
Oh, Joy Reid and Joy Behar, give me a break. Didn't Joy Reid get shipped to some other country? Didn't Carrie Underwood sue her?
I don't know if they did, but they should. they should all be deported. In fact, let's start deporting these people with Elon Omar from the fraud squad in Congress.
That's married to her brother.
Yes, let's start there. You know,
That's part
this
of the
is
reason, it's funny because the left and the woke agenda, that's part of the reasons that January 6th people got arrested.
correct.
Because
Yeah.
we started to see so much pedophilia, corruption, no sanctity for human life. They were chopping up our children, selling baby parts. Okay.
Yeah.
I got my footage back, Angel. And when I went to go see the president speak, he said, we're going to peacefully and patriotically take a walk over to the Capitol, which I did, full of fury, patriotism, no, not violence. Okay. We were marching and we were practicing our First Amendment rights to confront a tyrannical government. That's part of our rights as American citizens under the Constitution. Okay. Nobody had weapons, right? Well, so when we did that because we wanted to take a stand against the evil administration. We knew he didn't win by the submerging of the Hunter laptop alone, the Russia collusion, the Russia dossier,
Russia.
piston on the honey pot and all that stuff. So, okay, but we knew that before it came out. Okay.
Right.
And I saw the pictures of dead babies and skulls, and I got my footage back, and I can send it to you at a later time when I get it transferred.
Please.
From G6. I will. From the moment that the barriers were not up, we peacefully and patriotically took a walk till running up the steps. And I said, when they tell me I can turn around, I will turn around. The cops stood back, let me walk in. We went up to the tunnel. As I was in the tunnel, we were saying, we back the blue. We support you guys. We're just practicing our First Amendment rights. We want to stop the steal, USA. All of a sudden, a big riot broke out in the tunnel. I cried and screamed. I said, please stop, stop. Somebody lift me up, put me on the side of the wall, only to have been hit down by a cop in a billy club into the crowd. I couldn't breathe. I lost all my breath. I was crushed, and I have pictures of the condensed, that it was essentially like a sardine can. You couldn't even move. And I'd say, if somebody says, why didn't you leave? Well, let me take this picture. So I have that picture. So then this peaceful crowd wasn't so peaceful anymore. I made my way over to the window where I was able to get some breath. I couldn't breathe because they gassed us and bombed us. I couldn't see. Then they said
they were shooting rubber bullets to the crowd, right? I mean, that's been confirmed by everybody.
Oh yeah. Some people were getting shot.
Yeah.
But,
now, your official charges were ridiculous.
Treason. 1512.
Treason.
Try to stop an election proceeding. Destruction of a government property. Okay, and then like 9 misdemeanors that I never bothered to look at.
I mean, they're like just seeing with sticks, like spaghetti on the wall.
That's equivalent to up to 30 years, those charges.
Yeah, I know.
My judge was no dummy. My judge was no dummy, Angel. He was no dummy. He was elected by Trump. The Lord blessed me there. I think my initial arrest was so traumatizing to my life, and how I was put away for 2 months in solitary confinement. When I respectively went to go pay my bail, they laughed and said, surprise, Washington revoked your bail. They put me in handcuffs and put me away because of COVID. I was in solitary confinement for 1 month, never to have an attorney. They took the right for me to have an attorney. They get me in the middle of the night, and I'm like, where am I going? Because I've been in here a month already through my birthday and everything. They go, well, you're getting transferred to Washington. And just think, and one man broke down and told me, because nobody would tell me where I was going. And he's like, just think of it like that. This is a means to an end. The closer you get to Washington, the closer you get to ending this, like the truth coming out. That really comforted me when he said that to me. And then after that, he said to me, so what was I saying now? I lost track where I was.
You're talking about they told you after they took you in and they had hid you.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
they were
sorry.
speaking to you after the fact. No, no, I understand completely. I mean, this is
I
traumatizing.
went black. I was like, sometimes I go
Yeah,
black. I'm like, what happened? Okay, so after being in the jail for a month, I was
right.
like, where am I going? Like I said, somebody reassured me. I remember sitting in a metal room and he felt bad because nobody would tell me where I was going. I thought maybe I was going home. He's like, no, you're getting transferred. And I go, transferred, transferred. I was getting transferred across the country in chains. I was so scared.
How old
Anyway,
is your son at this point? How old is your son?
20.
And at no point
He
nobody
didn't know
reached
where I
out to him.
was. He's like, I don't know where my mom. They never gave me the decency to say, hey, they just rearrested me. I was arrested twice in 2 days
Mm,
and ransacked by the feds. So my family, I didn't have access to an attorney because once they revoked my bail, I had no attorneys. Like, I can't represent you anymore, Gina. They revoked it. Washington has jurisdiction over you. So I laid in jail for 1 month, no attorney, only to be picked up in the middle of the night with a bus to San Diego, from San Diego to the Con Air airplane, to go to Texas, to drop people off in Texas, to get back on the plane and go to Chickasaw County, Oklahoma, only to be
mm,
dropped in the middle of that detention center, Grady County Detention Center. And then go to the nursing station, they test me because I was sick as a dog too, because I was freezing.
I imagine. Yeah.
Then they give me a bed and I dragged the bed to this one bedroom, like a gymnasium where all these men were screaming bloody murder. And I'm laying here in a gymnasium with a boat.
My God.
And they put me in regular population and with the women, they're like, fresh meat, she's a terrorist. I'm like, oh shit. But I did make some friends. But there were Satanists in that jail. They would stay up all night and do Santeria and do like the
Wow.
cards all night. And I felt the energy was so dark, the tarot cards. And I just stayed prayed up. This was in Oklahoma in the prison. I used to have to get up in the middle of the night, Angel, because I had to pee a lot because I was nervous. And I was on the bunk bed. And I would jump from the bunk bed to the ground and go to the bathroom like every hour. Yeah. And they'd be like, stop waking me up. I'm like, sorry, But they would be doing tarot cards in the middle of the like cafeteria. And we were all aligned around the seats, like the picnic tables. And we had all like 65 bunk beds around there. And then there would be the bathroom. So we'd have to walk through like the gymnasium part, the cafeteria part, to go into the showers and the bathroom. And they were all open. Anyway, so in the middle of the night. And then one day after I was there and I started to try to get used to things, because I was like, I'm not getting out for another 30 years. I finally was able to talk to my family because I initially made friends through a prisoner through the toilet, clearing out the toilet, giving him information. And he would call my sister. That's how my sister got information where I was. I became friends with an Indian in Los Angeles, my first month, Daniel, and we stayed friends. And he sent me a radio through the toilet. He sent me like food through the toilet, chips.
Wow. I could only imagine going from like working on hair in a beauty salon, being a beautiful lady, getting involved in something you believe in, to ending in this situation. I mean, this is mind-boggling. Yeah, how are you so well off right now? I mean, how are you so well mentally? Because I mean, I'd be destroyed.
Angel, I struggle every single day, and I feel like my life may end tomorrow, Lord. I'm gonna cherish every moment. Like when I'm talking to you right now, when I have my dog, I'm going to cherish every moment, because going through that trauma, you never know what's behind the door. You never know, right?
Right.
You just have to appreciate, like right now I'm free. I was pardoned. Do you realize to go from such a low place to be pardoned? That's why I'm okay. And I had the support of people. When I first was arrested January 19th, I had no support. Everybody in the world hated me. I made every news headline everywhere. And
I know.
I'm like, what did I do? I didn't do anything. Like, what did I do? I didn't understand. I know why I took the megaphone and said, we need strong, angry patriots. We need gas masks. Because they shot and killed somebody, and then they suffocated somebody in the tunnel. And I wasn't aware that they suffocated the woman in the tunnel, but I was there when the chaos, I was on top. She was on the bottom. I saw them dragging a body through the crowd with red pants on, but I didn't know she had died. Then, so I made my way to the window, and that's when I took the megaphone. And then other people in the crowd are like, tell them they need to get out of the room. So I give them this message from Trump. They asked for, they wanted to see it written. So they gave me a cell phone that had a tweet from Trump that said, all patriots need to go home now. I jumped through the broken window, begged them to stop. People have footage of me inside, begged them to stop breaking up furniture. They said, no, Trump always says stuff he doesn't mean. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Back through the window. Okay. And proceeded to stand there. I couldn't breathe. I could barely see. Okay. And then they really started shooting. And it's like, leave now. We had to leave even though we couldn't see because they bombed us so hard. We were in a plethora of black smoke. So I made my way home and I got it. Finally made my way to my hotel where the InfoWars cameraman came, Rob, and we downloaded all my footage because we were saying there was Antifa everywhere in the crowd. That was my statement 7 days after the riot. That there were people infiltrating the crowd. There were infiltrators everywhere.
You know, it was reported that about a dozen FBI agents alone so far have been at least reported to be a good number of people infiltrating the crowd. But that's what we kind of are knowing about. I think it's probably more than that, much more than that. On top of that,
26.
Probably probably around 20, maybe 30.
Yeah.
But I also think there was a lot of infiltrating from Antifa, Black Lives Matter, other groups. And what always killed me was people like Enrique Tarrio, who got arrested, wasn't even there.
He's such a sweet guy. That is,
I mean, it's crazy.
The way they built him up and tried to paint him to be out as such a criminal. Yeah. That's a great guy. He loves America. Love his mom.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Awesome guy. Has a beautiful.
And Cuban like me.
Yes.
I'm sure he butchers American names like me because we do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, look, I love the fact that he's very outspoken as a Cuban American myself. We need more people of our community to be as proud. We need we need people period to be proud patriots. But what I love is with the way
people are going to say about them, Angel. We're standing up for America.
That's right, and this is not a white thing or a black thing because I'm Latino, I'm Cuban American. I was born in Cuba, raised in America,
and red has nothing to do with the shades of our skin.
Let me tell you, my mother, back in the 80s, she fought tooth and claw to get us here legally, and God bless her soul, we got here the legal way. We did everything proper. We became citizens in the early 90s. We've been, my mother passed away a United States citizen. That was the most proudest moment of her life when she went and took the exam. Yeah. She did everything correct. God bless her. And to know that people are coming in free willy for the last 4 years, given everything that we are not being given here in America, that our citizens, our veterans are being robbed of, and they're giving it to illegals coming in. On top of that, people like yourself and J6 are being treated like domestic terrorists.
Well, we were labeled, Angel, domestic terrorist, in the 4 years. So I was on in-home detainment. So I was in solitary for 2 months. They let me out in Oklahoma in the middle of nowhere. My attorney didn't bother to help me. He told the judge I drank the Kool-Aid. I was packing up all my belongings and moving to Philadelphia where he lived. I don't have a business in Philadelphia. I had to beg to file a motion to say, please, I can't go to Philadelphia. Why is he demanding I move across the country? They were trying to relocate me. They were trying to use me as a pawn. They were trying to intimidate me, trying to relocate, they wanted me to turn on President Trump. They wanted me to make lies up about my peers. What could I say bad about my peers? My peers were there trying to stop the violence. This guy, Eddie Badalian, they made me testify against him, who I'll introduce you to, Angel.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
went up on the stand and I said, I'm not going to, they go, you have to testify, you're going to jail. I went up there and said he was a hero that day, and they dropped his charges. They thought that I was going to go against him. They thought that I was going to go against in order to drop my charges, but I couldn't. There's no way I would ever do that.
See, that's why you're to me, the best when it
No,
comes to the insiders, because you were there, you spoke the truth, and you stood your ground, and that's patriotism.
Angel, even after getting tortured for 2 months, saying I'm going to face
Yeah.
30 years and I'm never going to see the light of day. Once I was out, I'm like, I said to myself, once I'm out of here, if I could just get out of here, I can fight. My sister goes, fight. I go, yeah, fight for my freedom. She's like, don't say that. Because she was afraid for me, because I said it from the jail. And the thing is, Angel, once I started to get more spiritual strength, become more spiritually grounded, there was no way I was going to go down in history as somebody that the feds and the left used as a tool to be used against my fellow peers and my fellow patriots and our president. They really tried to get me to work with them. Yes. And I was like, what is this attorney doing? The whole time I was in jail, this attorney that took my case through my family, he represented my sister-in-law's cousin who was in a bank robbery where somebody died. Point blank, my brother and sister picked him because he was a tough criminal attorney, because they were told I was named in the killing of a police officer. When I was incarcerated, that's what they told my family. I had something to do with it. That is why they hired this Trump-hating attorney.
Right. Which is typical. That's what they did to a lot of the J6ers.
Yeah. So he
You're not
told
the
my
only one
family,
that's told that.
right, named in the killing of a police officer, I better cooperate. I better cooperate with the feds, and they're going to relocate me. And I thought about it, and I was sick, and I was so afraid to talk back to this guy because I was so weak. And finally, I had an older gentleman that I met through my other friend who's a patriot, who's an attorney. And I said, listen, this guy's trying to trap me, and I'm scared to turning on my fellow patriots, saying I'll get no charges and I'll get more downward departures. But I really think Trump's going to come back, and I just want to wait this out, because I don't think I could never turn on my country ever. And so he helped me fire this guy. My family didn't talk to me for a little bit. They were upset. Now they understand, because they had my family thinking that I was nuts. He did.
What I love of your story is how you were able to delay the case so long.
I was supposed to be in for 10 years.
Yeah, that you did that beautifully.
I said, and even the NBC reporter Ryan Riley said, I can't believe you were right. You delayed. They wanted me in custody that minute when I got a strike. What's it called when you break the rules? It's called a
felony.
No, when you're out on pretrial and pretrial
wow, I've never been on pretrial. Let's see.
Called a
violation of parole, violation of probation.
Yes, probation. I had so many violations in probation, my pretrial, that they wanted me incarcerated. Violations meaning I liked something on Twitter, X. I was subpoenaed to go testify in a trial that I said I don't want to do, and they said if I don't, you go to jail for 30 years. So I ended up getting the guy's charges dropped. So after that, I went to a vigil party, and I didn't know it. And it was a music video with Viaggio Blow for Trump in front of the prison. And I was there like dancing. I got filmed, and I got in a lot of trouble. So they wanted me back, and the judge goes,
wow.
When I was supposed to go to custody, I got stuck in the hurricane in Miami, and my flight didn't go out.
Oh,
so
wow.
I was supposed to go back January 31st, 10 years. But he was going to give me, he said, I'll be the one to decide if she gets a downward departure. My judge let me stay out. My judge protected me because he saw the way they lost me on the plane, and he's a Trumper. And when he was assigned to my case, he's like, wait a second, this girl's still in jail. It was in Politico. So listen, Angel, I was tortured, and I just kept delaying. I had my friend write a letter saying they were bullying me, taking advantage of my weak mental state. I told the judge that my attorney called me stupid, and he tried to get me to lie, and I refused to. Oh yeah, I stuck up for myself when I started to get physically and mentally better.
I don't know if you have a title for your book yet, but if there's a title, it's right there. It's Delay, 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 How I Beat the System.
That's brilliant, because I have a book coming out. I'm working on it.
You could have that. You don't need to pay royalties. I'll give it to you. You deserve it.
Okay.
You do what you
Well,
gotta do
if
if
I
you want to
pay
use
for
it.
you get it.
You can just
How about
put "Thank you, Angel" in there somewhere. We're good.
listen, I got on X Space the other day, and they were
Mhm.
sitting there trying to say we were paid actors. And I said, listen, guys, you weren't there. You didn't get arrested. Why don't you look at the people in the crowd that
Right.
didn't get arrested, didn't get dragged around the country, who didn't sit in home detention for 4 years, unable to go on the internet, unable to run a business that I had.
Correct.
Then you can be wary of the people who were there and didn't get any charges. Not people who are true patriots who did time and took one for the team. I
Yeah.
was upset. We're trying to
Which
say
you definitely did. Yeah, I gotta say
my
you've
friend Jake
taken
Lang spent 4 years in prison. He was trying to help somebody
right.
resuscitate themselves in the tunnel. They were dying. He was giving them mouth to mouth, and they
Wow.
say he's a paid actor. That kid's. I'll introduce you to him, Jake Lang. That kid sat in prison for 4 years. I talked to him, and it angers me when they're saying, like, Trennis Evans, all these true patriots who fought so hard for our freedoms, they call us paid actors, and the people calling us that never saw a day in jail for their country.
No. You know who's a paid actor and somebody I've often criticized for being just that? David Hogg. David Hogg. Have you heard of this kid?
He's a sick bastard. He's a devil.
Yeah, that kid is bad, and I criticized him when the whole thing happened at the school because he openly lied. And I have it on video where he said two different stories of his participation, and there's only one truth. There's no two versions of what you were
Right.
in.
That's right.
So, and the funny thing is, now a few years later, what's he doing with the Democratic Party?
Oh, what a coinky dink. It's called
Right.
MK Ultra. It's called
Uh-huh.
MK Ultra. It's what they do to try to brainwash the masses.
Right.
It's the woke ideology. Okay. We still have people pushing back against Trump right
Oh
now
yeah.
in our
Yeah.
federal judges. They
Mhm.
blocked his rule today to stop the taxpayers' money for
Yeah.
paying Ukraine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's that woke agenda that the ideology that's always going to be there, unfortunately, until the Lord returns.
Well, the whole thing with the money to Ukraine, and I talked a little bit about this in the first hour. This is the industrial worker machine working at its finest. To me, this is nothing more than a Ponzi scheme that's been going on for decades and decades and decades, laundering money between these countries. This is a pattern we've all talked about on this show and many other shows.
Right.
If you've noticed over the last 40 years, every time Russia's made any move, there's been
Right.
Obama, Clinton, Bush, Biden. When Trump was in office his first 4 years, Zelensky, nobody in Russia, nobody had any beef. Everybody kind of stayed their lane. They knew what was going on. As soon as we got Joe Biden in there and he put the Nord Stream 2 pipeline back in business, he made open threats, by the way, to Putin. Literally said, we got to, take Putin out. And that was early on in his presidency. You do not say that on the world stage if you want to keep peace. And then say, oh, by the way, Putin, your pipeline, which is going to give you the ability to invade other countries, go back and do that. And we need to take you out. Guess what you're doing? You're literally gaslighting a fire to start a war. You're telling him go start a war. And then he tells them in another meeting early on, I don't know if you caught this, he tells Russia, here's the list of places you get cyber attack, and here's the list of the ones we definitely, you can't touch these places here. What? Are you out of your mind? He literally told them about 13 places within government that he does not want to see any kind of cyber attacks from Russia, or there's going to be conflict between America and the Russians. Hold on. You give them a list of 25 locations and you say, these 13, don't touch them. You're literally giving them a map to where to attack, right?
Who did that?
That was done
Obama?
by Joe Biden.
That piece of shit. He has no brain, though. That guy is not working with a full deck. People are running that puppet.
That's
He's not smart enough to
yeah,
be so
yeah.
evil.
But he said that in this was, I think, the first year that he was president, and I saw that, and I remember a lot of the details of the first couple of years, and that always stuck in my head. I'm like, what world leader will tell another superpower who is your political enemy worldwide, right? Because the Russians and the U.S. have history. How would you going to tell them? Here's a list of places that are very, top secret locations, and the 13 here. Yeah, make sure you don't attack these 13 right here. But the
Right.
rest, just do what you want.
That is, I never knew that. I didn't know that happened. That's insane. I have to look that up. You need to send me that. I need to look. That's insane. So what do you think about Halliburton?
Oh well, Halliburton. Where do you want me to start on
Is
Halliburton?
that where they break
Just
down to build up?
that, yeah. I mean, look, Halliburton, Burisma, all these different places that are running, what I call a Rico scam in the world.
Yeah, right.
That's really all it is. It's the same thing, over and over again. And it doesn't matter you stop one or you stop the other; they're going to continue.
But so they're constantly trying to break down and have war so they could rebuild and make money, like Trump says. Like
Right.
you make money
It's
off of war.
it's the industrial war machine.
Industrial complex. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Now, this is another thing that I get into my program a lot. When you talk about a lot of the money that goes missing, a lot of that ends up in black budget projects, which we talk about a lot on the show here. Look, look, the UFO stuff, the aircrafts, a lot of the stuff that people think are aliens are really government stuff, like the drones. All that stuff is really government stuff, and when it comes to like not only war tactics, you got to understand a lot of this stuff is being thrown out there because we're spying on each other, and that's why the drones are out there right now. And a lot of people are like seeing and thinking they're looking at aliens, and what they're looking at is we're actually right now trying to assess, since Trump is coming back in office, and he knows exactly what's happening. There's an assessment going on because during Biden's administration, I don't know how many thousands of Chinese spies came in through the borders, and they've been buying property here.
All the information the Biden family sold China.
Yeah,
I think they
not
did
only
that. That's why we have Chinese spies now, spy balloons. How are they able to gain access into our country through our airwaves?
remember when Biden said, "Oh, the Chinese, man, they're not a threat. They're gonna eat our lunch. Come on, man, they're not gonna eat our lunch. Come on, man."
They're eating it. Well, they would have
Oh,
been.
they're not only eating it; they're eating it with soy sauce, and it tastes delicious, according to
And adrenochrome.
our friends.
And adrenochrome.
Yeah, yeah. The adrenochrome. Oh my goodness. That's it.
There's actual real sites on Telegram where you can see the adrenochrome and how they sell it, and also other things that it's really hard to even talk about. What's on this? It's adrenochrome and human trafficking, and their actual live photos of events taking place, things happening.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what do you think all the children are coming up missing? What do you think they're getting their adrenochrome from?
I mean, there was 30, how much? 300,000 or just recently 30,000 missing, undocumented kids that have been missing, right?
I wonder how many.
Thir-
I wonder how many of the ones coming over the border are ending up victims of this. That's something that really bothers me because when we get caught up in things like the war and all this stuff, this is something that I think is even worse.
Angel, what they do is they have the kids come here and then they take it to a affluent family, Miami, New York. That's what they do. They sell them to families for sex
Yeah,
trafficking.
yeah. And the pleasure islands like the Epstein and the Diddy's and all these different places. Uh, I saw a video not too long
Yeah.
which showed the Epstein Island from a helicopter view, and it showed mass graves in one of the islands before they raided it, and they turned it into a tennis court, and you could see like literally like looked like mass graves dug in the ground in one section of the island, and I wonder like if this is what that was after whatever was going on there and their parties and they were killing children or women and throw them in these mass graves when Epstein died, right? And the government took over the island. What happened to the people that were in these graves? I mean, have they been identified? There's a lot of things that we need to like, find out.
Well, there's, I mean, what? How many missing children do we have per year in each state? Think about
Hmm.
it.
Yeah,
I believe Florida's 30,000, North Carolina 40,000, Tennessee 50,000. What is happening here? And these kids have never been identified. Again, the adrenochrome, the sex trafficking is $1 trillion business. Okay, they're going to do whatever they damn well can to keep this under wraps.
yeah. Now, you brought up Burisma and Ukraine in the tie-in. I think, like I said, all this is tied in together with even Diddy and Epstein, the Bidens, the Clintons, all this.
Yeah,
And I don't hide behind a brick wall here. I say the way it is. I think all these people are involved. The Obamas, they're all involved in this thing. What I love about what they do, though, and I gotta say this is brilliant. Stuff with like Burisma and like I'm glad you brought them up because when you're talking about the way they spread their money around and you just follow the money, you'll see
right.
you see where all this stuff
They're
is
rich
going
and
to.
rich,
Right.
and
And
they're taking money from American taxpayers.
but
And
what I love
people are
is
sleeping on the.
Gina, what I love is what they say though, and they always say the rich need to pay more, the billionaires need to do more. And I'm like, wait a second, you are the rich. You're the billionaires.
Yeah, exactly. That's the people saying it are the elite themselves.
Right. The elites are telling us the rich need to pay more, but yet we're the ones stuck with the higher taxes. We're the ones stuck with the
Mhm,
inflation. We're the ones stuck losing
mhm.
kids in wars. We're the ones stuck having people come through our borders with no vetting, no background checks,
No
who
other
knows what
country allows
diseases.
that.
Right.
No other
And
country allows that.
and the mainstream, lamestream media wants to call us the domestic terrorists because we're saying, hey, slow down a minute. Why is this taking place? What we need answers here. Why is
Well,
three
we're
hundred
only
fifty
paid
billion
$90
dollars
million.
for the war? Huh?
Politico alone was paid $90 million to spread disinformation.
Right.
This is our taxpayers' dollars. You know, I lost everything when they arrested me, and I'm like working out of my friend's salon. I don't have a salon anymore because when the feds raided me, the first time I was arrested, I made bail and I came home. I was going to go to work the next day. That day, I went to the jail to pay my bail. They kidnapped me. So nobody knew what to do with my salon. They didn't know where I was. My poor son was like, I don't know what to do. My friend's like, let's give her the
Right.
keys back. Let's move the stuff out of her salon. So the stupid girl left half the stuff by my garbage, and the rest of the stuff went to in my apartment. So when I was in jail, I had my whole salon in my 1-bedroom apartment. Okay. So I lost everything. I lost my dignity. I had news stations, news articles. Every other time I turned my head, they would say I'm a threat to society. I'm extreme
Yeah.
home detention. I'm a danger.
Oh, they were
I
making
mean,
up
I
all
was on
kinds of things about you. Yeah. I remember they were making up all kinds of things.
Every news syndication there was. I did Daily Mail, TMZ, New York Post, New York Times, Washington Post, Yahoo News, The New Yorker, Law and Crime Magazine. Like I'm some. When all that money, the fake news media they could have been helping children with cleft lips. They could have been helping foster children, having like really good fortified foster parents. Really look into like work with the foster system, like work on ways of making America great again.
Yeah.
Focusing on tearing down so that we could build up off the people's back. You know what I'm saying? It's like, just like people now, they're so like weary of me and Trent Evans and Jake Lang and these true patriots, John Mellis, Philip Anderson, true patriots, Gabriel Garcia, that fought for us and for our election integrity, and we're being called feds.
Right.
Well, not only people do that, but I heard it the other day. I'm like, why don't you take a look at my docket?
But it's funny though, when at the end of the day you look at it and you see that the mainstream media is dead in this country. We don't believe them anymore. But now the great thing that I'm seeing is a great awakening of everyday folks that are coming online and they're like putting their podcast together and they're talking about this, like the Lou Valentino and the Kingdom, the Heart's Kingdom, which is another great channel on YouTube.
And David Harris Jr. and the brothers, those two brothers. What are they?
Right.
The Hodge
There's
twins.
There's the Hodge twins. They're awesome.
Angel Radio.
Yeah, I mean, there's a
Jesse
lot
Water,
of folks that are just.
Carlson,
I mean,
Joe Rogan,
Steve
Dylan.
Crowder.
Love
That's
Steve.
my man, Steve Crowder. I love Steve Crowder.
He should have
Alex Jones has
gone
been a hero
on.
for decades. I love Alex Jones.
No globalists, no pedophiles going to take. That is my mentor, Alex Jones.
Yes,
Right there.
you and I are like right there. I've been a Alex Jones fan since 25 years now.
Same. I was on InfoWars when I first got. I don't know if you saw it. I was also on InfoWars. Did you see that January 7th? I gave the interview. You did see that, Angel?
Yeah, I saw clips on that. Yeah. I follow InfoWars a lot. In fact, another friend of mine, Mitchell Nicholas Gerber, was on InfoWars a couple times, and he's talking about China and the Falun Gong, how they've been slaughtering, a group of religious people. Like people hear of like the Uyghur Muslims in China and what they've gone through. But a lot of people don't know about the Falun Gong and what they've gone through. And that's a religious, they're not a religious group like, Christians or anything. You can be any religion. They're spiritual people. They practice spirituality and, the cosmos and, how to center yourself.
Weird. It's called paganism.
You kind of, but you can be any religion. They don't, they're not like, you have to be only one religion. No, they were very welcoming to religions and very peaceful people. And the Chinese government has been slaughtering them for years, and nobody talks about that. And Alex Jones, InfoWars, God bless them because they did a piece on it. They had a good friend of mine, Mitchell Nicholas Gerber, on there, and he exposed a lot of that. And I'm telling you, this is stuff that is happening worldwide, and it's all connected even to what happened to you and the J6ers, the Epstein. This is the globalism, and that doggy is beautiful, by the way. But this is the globalism that's in place, and there's one name that it goes beyond, like common sense to name here. And when I name him, your face is gonna like be in shock that I'm actually saying the name. George Soros.
He's a scum. You know what I said on Capitol Hill? George Soros, you could go to hell.
Yeah,
Listen.
he belongs there. Yeah, 100%.
And he's a Jewish guy, George Soros. He turned on his family.
I know. And funny enough, who gave him a medal? And his son, Alex, his son again.
Alex Soros.
Yeah, he accepted the medal through Joe Biden.
He's married to Anthony Weiner's ex-wife.
Yeah.
Alex.
Go figure on that one, huh? That dog is very feisty. It's a girl, right?
What?
It's a girl or a boy?
A girl.
It's a girl. Yeah, it has to be a little girl. What's her name? Because she's beautiful.
Her name is Lollipop.
Oompa Loompa?
Lollipop.
Oh, Lollipop? Oh, there you go. I would have gone either with something like that or like a druid or like something out of Star Wars. Houdini! One of the little Star Wars Jawas. Listen, we're almost out of time. I know I was only going to keep you up for an hour. I do want to tell you, please give the audience where to get donations to you and help
Guys, I
support
took
the
6
cause.
pepper sprayed in my face on January 6th. I still
Yes, you
held
did.
down. Okay, so I'm on X and Jan 6. I have a YouTube channel that I'm trying. I don't have many subscribers, but I'm trying. It's my first and last name, Gina Bisignano, on YouTube. Bisignano. And then I have a Give, Send, Go. Yes, I'm trying to build my life up again.
Yeah.
Because I spent a lot of money being threatened and extorted by the left, paying an attorney $80,000 cash, losing my entire savings. So I have a Give, Send, Go. It's under Gina Bisignano, Bisignano. And I have an Instagram, and it's Gina's Beverly Hills, along with my TikTok. So, I love the beauty business, but of course the trajectory of my life has changed. So what I want to do is I want to set a precedent for women to not be afraid to stand up for what they feel is right. Okay. For the sanctity of human life, for families, the nuclear family, for education, not bringing this woke agenda into our ideology, into our homes and our family, and keeping God in our country, in our schools, in our government. Because we hire government, Angel. They don't hire us or lock us up.
No, that's absolutely true.
Never happen again.
No. And what happened, even after the January 6th event, what happened even with the weaponization of DOJ with Trump and everything like that. I mean, this can never happen in this country again. If we're going to continue being the leader of the world, if we're going to continue to be the shining star on top of the hill, right, for the rest of the world, we cannot allow this kind of stuff to happen. Remember, this is a country built for the people, by the people, and we're built under God. And that,
yes, one nation
let's not forget
under
that.
God. And
Yeah.
once we lose that, once it's under Gog and Magog, we're complete. We're finished. And I believe that Trump was anointed to be our leader, because the good people, the people who want righteousness, they need a leader. And Trump is
That's right.
our leader. He has a mandate, and he's doing that mandate as we speak by the American people. Okay.
I believe
And that the vote numbers spoke volumes right there.
You know what sold me 100% that this is a gift from God and this is destiny? The moment that he got shot and the bullet grazed his ear,
Yes.
and he looked at it, went down, and then came back up and said, "Fight, fight,
Fight, fight,
fight."
fight.
That is single-handedly the greatest patriotic moment I've ever seen in this country by a president.
Even Zuckerberg. That's what turned Zuckerberg too. Yeah.
I know. I mean, that moment, if you didn't have tears, literally, in your eyes, seeing a man get up and be like, "You shot me in the head? Hold on a second. Fight."
Angel, fight. Don't
Forgot
you
about that.
feel like you can relate to him? I really relate to that man. I really do.
And look, before we go, I got to tell you, I don't relate to him just in the last few years. I've been on the Trump bandwagon since the 90s.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you the exact moment.
James,
I'll tell you the
you're
exact
fired.
moment I'll tell you the exact moment I jumped on the bandwagon. There was an incident in the early 90s where there was this young kid named Ryan White who was dying of AIDS. He was a hemophiliac. Michael Jackson had just met Donald Trump through a charity event for AIDS. and he was became aware of this kid who had been a huge Michael Jackson fan. Michael had just met Donald Trump, and they were, doing some business for a possible building a Neverland that Michael, I guess, was trying to talk to Trump to help him build. And in the conversation, he said, "Oh, by the way, I'm going to go see this kid who is dying of AIDS." And Trump said, "Really? I want to go meet him." He went, met the kid. There's footage, okay, of him going into the house, talking to the family. He made all kind of donations to the family afterwards. He didn't have to do any of that. None of that
And
was
didn't
mainstream.
Ryan White get that from a blood transfusion?
Correct. He was a hemophiliac.
Yes.
He wasn't gay or participating in drugs or anything. No, he was a regular blood transfusion. He was one of the early victims of this terrible disease, and in that format, and in a child, and his family lost him. And Trump went, and I saw when he left the house, you couldn't see that he was glossy-eyed. This touched him. You're not an evil person if this is what you do. And then another moment, he did a thing on Maury, I believe, or one of these shows when they had a little girl, and the little girl had an illness, and Trump came out on video, donated a lot of money to help her with her cause, and this little girl was like, "Oh my God!" And they're like, "You see all the zeros in that check? That's a lot of money." And Trump was so graceful, telling her how beautiful she was and how it touched her or touched him, her story. And I said, "That's a guy one day should be president." This is back in the '90s when I
Right.
saw that. I was like, that
Right.
guy, and I like his politics.
Remember when Oprah, because he started standing up against Obama's fake certificate, he never would
Yeah,
stop with that, remember?
yeah.
I
But who
was so
started that?
happy. What?
Hillary Clinton started that, remember? And then Trump was like, "That's right." You don't remember that? Hillary
Who
Clinton was
started
running
that?
against Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. Remember, she was running against Obama for the Democratic ticket, and she's the one that started the birther stuff with his certificate. And Trump was like, "You know
Uh,
what? That is correct. It looks kind of fishy. Why don't we know more about this certificate?" And then everybody blamed Trump when Hillary's the one that started the whole thing. That's a fact. I'm not making this up. Now you
wow.
now you get how deep it goes.
Oh, I've been down that rabbit hole and I'm planning on going down further.
Yeah, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, listening and watching, this has been a very, very amazing hour with our lovely guest, and we hope
Well,
Gina
I'm
to have
on
you
it.
back. No, the honors
I'd
really
love
are
to.
ours here, and I'd love to have you back on, and we continue conversation here with you because you're
Make America
fascinating.
great again. Let's work towards that, right? Let's work towards not trying to find other people at fault. Let's try to do things to spread the word so that we need to prevent any kind of election unintegrity and a stolen election and bureaucracy leading this country. So we've got to fight and keep it.
We have a very a small window of time to really get it right and really make
That's
this
right.
country what it's supposed to be. Transparency, less government, a country by the people, for the people, and by again under the rule and law of God.
That's
We're a
right.
country,
One nation under
we're a
God.
nation under God, indivisible and with liberty and justice for all.
Wow.
I mean, that's the way it is. Folks, till next week. Gina, thank you so much and God bless you. Stay
Oh, my
safe.
pleasure. Nico. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Motorboat? You play the motorboat?